Hey, thank you for tuning in. Tobin here. This is a new segment for my page and channel. I wanted to start doing something which is a little different from what I normally do, simply because I've had so many visitors come here over the past 2 years, and I'm in my comfort zone, my element, emotionally sound, I should say, mentally at peace, physically at peace, very obviously. So we kind of get into stories and just talking conversation. I don't have to have any, um, let's say, formalized conversations with people. There's no dating situations. There's no professional situations here. So it's just very much a friendly atmosphere, almost like a family atmosphere. And we get to the point in Costa Rica that we start discussing other alternative truths and realities that we've experienced, because this reality is an alternative reality from what most people have experienced. That said, many years ago, after my father passed, I started writing a lot of my experiences throughout my lifetime because they were very unique, not just to me, but when I would share them with other people. And that has, become a manifesto and an autobiography, and I publish it and then I unpublish it and I add it or add to it, modify it depending on how my story is evolving in this lifetime. But I think the easiest way is to do things on YouTube from now on. So I'm going to do one story at a time, something that's happened in my life that to me is just a normal thing, and I don't even want to say normal thing. It just is what it is. It's my reality, and I can't deny it or change it. I just have to accept it, laugh at it, and make the most of the lessons I can learn from the experiences. But as I've learned from talking with other people, I have some very unique, true stories about my life that have, you know, all in all affected my reality in a positive way, but at the time seemed very crazy and scary and frightening and strange, and to other people even more so, probably. So I will start this journey and these stories off with a story of when I was 18 years old, a senior in high school. I lived in a town named Ringwood, and we were a regional high school, so there's two other towns involved in our high school, Wanacue and Haskell. And I had a basketball teammate early in high school, I think freshman, sophomore year, and then he moved after that. And we remained friends, somewhat acquaintances, I should say, and we had friends in common and hobbies in common, modifying import cars and smoking weed and hanging out with girls and playing basketball, which was the main thing we had in common. So at some point, I guess sophomore, junior year, in the middle of high school, this friend, person, teammate, moves to Jefferson, a few towns away, which is like all rich white kids as far as we knew. And so we would go up there to party because it was a different environment, a different vibe than we were used to where we were from. And obviously my friend's in high school there, so he's making connections. He's got teammates got girlfriends. He's starting to meet girls, and then these girls find out that he's got all these hood friends, ghetto friends from where we were from. So we started getting invited up to these parties and hanging out with these different groups and girls specifically because we were straight men. And in his neighborhood, it was this very, very affluent, big house, new development neighborhood in Jefferson. There was a house along the way, which was a girlfriend of his, like a female friend, and she had a couple girlfriends over one night, and myself, my buddy, and a couple other of our guy friends stopped over there. And we're all just hanging out, probably, having a few drinks, smoking. And for the first time in my life, somebody pulls out a Ouija board. And I had never used the Ouija board before. I had had magical, mystical experiences before that, but you're a kid, so you write this stuff off as like, oh, my imagination, or that didn't really happen, or, it happened, but we can't tell adults about it type thing. You just write this stuff off as a kid. So now I'm an adult. I'm 18. We're playing this Ouija board, and I'm kind of a wise ass with life in general. I don't feel like I'm being challenged enough in life. I don't feel like I have a proper mentor for my abilities. I was in a state of consciousness in which I was unsatisfied and lost, and I had felt over accomplished. and I physically like was overaccomplished. Life was too easy for me at the time. So now I'm playing this Ouija board, and it kind of comes up, and I'm not believing that this thing is moving me. But there's two people holding it, and I'm convinced that this other person is moving it, but that I've never met this person, so they don't know details of my life. And it essentially, we're asking the thing questions, and it says, do you know anybody in this room? And it goes to the letter yes. It means yes, who? And it spells my name out. So now I'm like, like, what are you guys doing? This is some stupid fucking joke. And then this girl goes, what do you know about Tobin? Or Toby at the time was what I was going by, and that's what it spelled out. And it just kept writing over and over again, bad. And we were rephrasing the question, what bad? Or is somebody do something bad? And it said yes. And the next question is, it's somebody he knows. And it was yes again. And it said, we asked who? And it spelled out the name Andy. And we all start like kind of laughing at each other because, Andy, this guy Andy we were hanging out with was like the softest guy in the group. He wouldn't even talk to girls. Like, he just was soft. Like, he just was not the guy that was going to do something bad to me, if anybody. Like, he was, as far as I knew, we were friends. Like, we were cool. So, like, the last person in that group that I felt threatened by was this guy, Andy. Now, fast forward, I don't know, maybe only a week, because I think this was, like, springtime and school was ending. Maybe a couple weeks go by, and it's 2 days before my high school graduation, and I'm sitting at my friend Edmund's house in Haskell, and it's myself, Andy, Edmund, and our friend Tyrone. And we all have, some cash in our pockets, and we want to go up to a car shop, Speedmasters, in Peekskill, New York. At the time, we were kind of part of the New Jersey chapter of this car club, just, modifying our cars and doing it in a group, and it was a car club in the Fast and Furious days. Beginning. It was the first movie that had just came out, and we were living this lifestyle already. But anyway, we were heading up to that shop, which is in upstate New York, so we had to take Route 287 from New Jersey up to Route 87, the New York Thruway to New York, and it was about a 2-hour drive. We're about 30 minutes into it. We're crossing the border of New York State, from New Jersey to New York State, just by Suffern. If you're familiar with New York State, Sloatsburg, Tuxedo, Suffern area, and part of the Highway 87 passes up Suffern, towards Nyack and Nanuet and the Tappan Zee Bridge, which may have a new name at this point. I'm sorry. So we're about a mile into New York, and we were kind of dozing off. It was dinner time, like 6 p.m., and all of a sudden the car kind of jolts, and we come to attention. I'm in the back seat behind the driver. Andy. Andy was racing a Corvette. It doesn't matter what car, it's irrelevant, but was racing another car in rush hour traffic. Now this is a 4-lane highway, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just our side, and there's 4 lanes on the other side going the opposite direction. Now Andy had trapped himself on the fastest lane on our side near the median with nowhere to go, going about 100 miles an hour, quickly decelerating and trying to downshift, but he was unable to. The velocity of the car just kind of lost control, buckled under him trying to brake and stop beyond Earth physics. And we slammed into that median in the middle of the highway. And at that point we realized, oh shit, something's really happening here. And the car spun around 180 degrees and actually slid across the highway as we were facing oncoming traffic. So I'm watching the cars coming at me, kind of moving in slow motion, and I look left, and now the highway's ending, and I have this thought, oh shit, this is real. Because for a moment I thought it was a dream, and as soon as I had that revelation, oh shit, this is real, one of those reflector beams on the side of the road must have smashed the car. That was the first thing we hit, and I just remember the window smashing next to me and like wanting to pull my arm in here as if that was going to do something. And then as we changed from pavement to gravel and grass, the car changed because the friction of the tires changed, and it started flipping, going what I imagine is about 90 miles an hour. And we flipped about 8 to 10 times, as onlookers said, but the point of the story, and that, accident stories out there in different variations in newspapers, and I've had little documentaries shot on me. But the point of this story is that a Ouija board actually predicted this accident happening to me, which at this point to me is one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because it's directed my life in such a way that now I find myself at 38 years old living in paradise with all my dreams coming true. So thank you, universe, for doing that. But the question is, was the Ouija board warning me? Was this a friend, someone on the other side that was looking out for me, warning me not to get in the car with Andy? Or did the accident happen because I played that Ouija board and invited this spirit into my life? In the comments below, I want you to give me your take on that. If you've ever used the Ouija board, or you've had an experience like this, or you've studied supernatural and mystical occurrences, tracing back to ancient Egypt where the Ouija board was created, I'd be very interested to know your thoughts. I have a whole bunch of theories derived from practical study and from my own experience, but I'm not here to preach my philosophy. I just want to tell a story and see your thoughts and reactions and reflections. And if you've had an experience like this, please tell me in the comments below. Hit me with a response video. Reach out to me on social media at the Jungle Temple or Flying Tobin on Instagram, and we can talk about it. I'm genuinely curious. I'm sharing these stories because I am absolutely sure there are other people who have had experiences like this, and there are some TV shows about UFO stuff, about ghost sightings, all this. But this goes different. This is in the realm of spiritualism, in quantum mechanics, in possible interdimensional telepathy, quantum entanglement. This could be, an ancient technology that we've been using as a toy, ancient communication technology like a cell phone that we've been using as a toy. Now extrapolate that if somebody thousands of years from now finds the schematics and blueprints how to make a cell phone but uses it different than we did, they use it as a toy rather than a communication device, there can still be beings communicating on that device to those future users of the toy, and they might not know it, and they might have experiences like this. So is a Ouija board actually an ancient cell phone communication device, like a crystal ball? Something to contemplate. Anyway, if you're one of my subscribers, please comment on this video. If you are not yet subscribed and you found this video, comment, tell me what you think, hit a like, hit that share button, spread it to your network, and let's get these theories understood a little bit more. Let's see what's really going on, because one way or another, however you look at it, I was warned that this was going to happen. And when I brought this up to the people after the accident that were in the room at the time, they got freaked out and they didn't even want to talk about it. That's how much it emotionally affected them, because they remembered it. When I was in my accident, not everybody in that room was in the car with me, so they knew I was in this accident and then remembered immediately, connected back to that Ouija board night, and was like, whoa, like this is 20 years after, I have yet to have an honest conversation with any of these people about this, because none of them will talk about it. It's not that they didn't remember it or experience it, it just freaks them out too much because our society does not normalize things like this. So hopefully this video is a step to normalization of these concepts and these theories. And maybe these guys will reach out to me or comment in the video themselves, or record their own videos of their take of the events, because they were there too and I was in it. They witnessed it from an objective perspective, so they may have different information that I don't remember because I was traumatized by it all. So anyway, Ouija board predicting my death. Tell me what you think. Thanks for checking in, thanks for tuning in and spending the time to watch this. And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get all my new videos. Pura vida.